Hello and welcome. Today is going to be a little bit of a quicker video. I wanted to wrap up my goals from 2024 as well as talk about my goals for 2025. So let's get into it. I really didn't have a lot of goals for 2024. My biggest and really only goal was to focus on series that I was in the middle of and try and get that list down to a more manageable number, which I had massive success in. I did so well. I am so proud of myself. I think at the start of the year, I was currently in the middle of, I think it was like 55 series or something like that. Like, it was a wild number, but I am proud to say that I finished off the year with my ongoing series down to below 10. I only had 9 series that I wasn't caught up on at the end of the year, so very proud of myself. Go me. I did DNF quite a few of those series, but a lot of them I just buckled down and I read a whole bunch of them. So I'm very proud of myself. I did go over this in my stats video, but I just want to talk about it again. Yeah, so 57% of the books that I read this year were part of a series. I did start 40 new series, so that is a very large number, but I read 26 sequels and finished 24 series. 24 series. So good. That is so good. I love that for me. And then yeah, DNF'd a whole bunch of them. So many series that I had been in the middle of for, upwards of 10 years that I finally admitted defeat on and moved them to the DNF shelf. So, but yeah, that was really the only goal that I had for last year, and I'm gonna call that a huge success. I would have loved to have that number be down to 0, but less than 10 from 55 roughly is still amazing. And now let's get into my goals for this year. I don't have too many. So the first one that I have on my list is that I want to focus on my backlist. You might have seen the video already. I'm not sure on my timeline for which video is coming out when, but I'm pretty sure by the time this video comes out, I'll already have episode 1 of Backlist Bash out. Backlist Bash is a challenge that I have for myself for this year where once a month I'm going to spend 1 or 2 weeks reading the oldest books off of my TBR and trying to not have books sit there for 5+ years. So so I am actively working towards this goal, and yeah, I'll be doing that at least once a month. It'll be minimum once a month, but if the mood strikes me, then we'll do a bonus episode once in a while. And then I also want to keep on top of my series. I just got down to a reasonable number and I don't want to get back up there. The challenge with that is Backlist Bash is going to force me to start a whole bunch of new series. For episode 1, I've already started 3 new series, and now I think the top 15 oldest books on my Goodreads TBR, they're all the first books in a series. So it's gonna be challenging to keep on top of the series, but I'm gonna do my best, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. But it'll be a goal. I don't know how well I'll do, but we'll try. I also really want to track my DNFs more accurately. I am a ruthless DNFer, but I don't really record the vast majority of them. I really only record the ones that I read a decent amount of, but I'm making it a goal to accurately record every single DNF into my spreadsheet, even if I only read 1 or 2 pages, because I just want to see how many I actually DNF in 1 year. I've never tracked that before and I'm very curious about it, so we're gonna do that this year. I would also like to read more nonfiction this year. I only read 4 nonfiction books last year, and while I love fantasy and sci-fi and horror, those will always be my main focus, and I do mostly read for fun. I do also want to read more nonfiction and just bring more learning into my life. I haven't been in school, oh god, how long has it been? 8 years, I think, since I graduated from university, which is wild to think about. I do not, oh god, I'm so old. Is that right? That can't be right. When did I graduate? I graduated in 2018. 19, 20, 22, 23, 24. 7 years. Okay, that's better. It's been 7 years since I graduated from university. Still a very long time that I can't believe that much time has passed, but hey. Anyways, and yeah, I miss learning and I want to be more intentional with how I spend my time. And as much as I love filling my time with fantastical stories, I also want to focus more on lifelong learning and that kind of thing. So more nonfiction. I'm not going to set a number or a timeline for it. Ideally, I would like to read at least 1 a month. These days, I typically read upwards of 20 books per month, give or take, sometimes even more than that. So I definitely have the room to squeeze in 1 or 2 nonfiction books every month, give or take. But I'm also not going to hold myself to that and like give myself like strict numbers. I don't like having like really set rules like that. I just set these goals to like try and be more intentional. And then finally, I want to improve my focus really, really badly. I've talked about this so much on my channel. I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing it, but I'm going to keep talking about it because I think it's important to talk about this. But I have ADHD and it is unmedicated, which is really difficult just in my everyday life, like especially, you know, trying to work and trying to be a productive adult and everything. It's very, very difficult, but especially as a reader, like I have a really hard time focusing. I used to read between 15 and 30 books a year, which is a great number, and I was very proud of that. And at the time, I thought it was because I was a student and I just didn't have the time to read. Turns out it was actually ADHD, and I can't focus for longer than a few pages at a time. I've never been able to do that. But in the last few years, as I've, you know, realized that I have ADHD and I've been focusing on trying to find ways to deal with it without medication. I just don't have a family doctor, so I don't have access to medication right now. So I just have to find other ways to be able to cope with it, make it easier on myself. And when it comes to reading, audiobooks have been so incredibly helpful for me. I started listening to audiobooks maybe like 4 years ago, and it's completely changed how I read. Last year, I read 159 books. I went from, again, 15 to 30 per year, every year, to 159. Like, audiobooks are incredible for me. And I do want to acknowledge that and understand that audiobooks is an aid for me, but I do also want to be able to get to a point where I'm able to read without the audiobook again. Because these days, if I don't have the audiobook, I'm probably not going to read the book, just because I know that I'm not going to be able to get through it, or it'll take me like weeks to read a book if I don't have the audiobook. And I want to get into a mindset where that's okay. I don't have to read fast. I am allowed to spend a couple of weeks reading one book, and that's fine. So I guess it's not so much a improve focus as it is like maybe improve my patience or slow down, I guess maybe we can word that better. There are so many books on my TBR where I've gone to read them, but none of the apps that I use have the audiobook, so I just don't read it. But I want to be able to read those books, and I want to continue using audiobooks as an aid, but I would love to be able to not require the audiobook, you know what I mean? So I want to start reading more ebooks and physical books without the audiobook, and just let myself go slow and take my time and just learn to be okay with the fact that I'm gonna get distracted, I'm gonna lose focus, I'm gonna go off on a whole bunch of side quests, and that is okay. Just let it be. I don't know if any of that made sense. I hope it did. So yeah, those are my goals for 2025. So far, this year's off to a great start. I was sick for the first 2 weeks of the year, so I didn't do really any reading. I think we were like a week and a half in, and I'd only finished one book so far, but in the last week and a bit, I've definitely caught up. I have made up for lost time. But yeah, let me know what your goals are for this year and how you did for your goals for last year. I would love to hear all your thoughts down below in the comments. But in the meantime, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys later on.